would like to welcome you all in this GET session. This time it is going to be on third Wednesday, and now I would like to invite Dr. Gaurav Mukhija sir to give a presentation on skin care and hair care, which is very important topic and topic of interest for both general practitioners as well as the specialty division. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shantanu, for inviting me. Today I'll be talking upon the skin care and the hair care. Skin, as we know, is the largest and the most exposed organ of the body, and it is susceptible to the maximum external factors. The main concern of the patient which comes to our OPD is the aging. Everybody goes through this process, but everybody wants to avoid this. Whether it is a teen, a young person, a middle-aged person, or an old person. What is aging? Aging is a dynamic, biological and degenerative process involving multiple systems including skin and skin support systems such as the bone, cartilage and subcutaneous tissue. The main causative factor for aging is the reactive oxygen species, and aging can be the intrinsic aging or the extrinsic aging. The intrinsic aging or the chronological aging is the age-related aging which happens in all the people and is due to the passage of time. It depends upon various factors like genetic inheritance. Like some people say that youth runs in the family. Many people, even if they grow old, they have a youthful face. And in females, estrogen deficiency after menopause is one of the big cause of this chronological aging. The second one is the extrinsic agent. Extrinsic aging, which depends upon the environmental factors like the UV rays, that is the sunlight, as well as the smoking, the pollution, the use of cosmetics and the diet. Extrinsic aging usually occurs in those people who go out in sun for a long time, and due to the sun exposure, the areas in which the sun exposure is there, they have more wrinkles, they have more signs of aging, while those covered areas, they don't have those signs of aging. Smoking also increases the aging, pollution, the use of cosmetics and the diet. What are the signs of the aging skin? The signs of the aging skin are xerosis or dryness, irregular pigmentation. Sometimes some areas are dark, some areas become hypopigmented, the fine wrinkles, the thin and transparent skin, loss of underlying fat causing the sagging skin, the graying of hair, the hair loss, as well as increased terminal type hair, means the thin hair, nail fragility, osteomalacia, as well as some signs like the senile purpura, dyspigmentation, freckles, lentigines, guttate hypomelanosis, which is commonly seen in old people in which they are concerned, the wrinkling, the deep furrows, and very rarely the neoplasms, very rarely. Now, what are wrinkles? Wrinkles can be static or dynamic. Static wrinkles are those wrinkles which are seen when the patient is not exerting himself, they are present as such. While the dynamic wrinkles are those wrinkles which are seen when the person expresses herself or himself. There are a lot of different types of wrinkles, as we can see, the horizontal forehead lines, the frown lines, the crow's feet, the bunny lines, the nasolabial folds, the radial lip lines, the Manhattan lines, as well as the chin lines. These are different types of wrinkles in which people are concerned. Some examples are these, the wrinkles which occur on the forehead horizontal lines, while this is the area for the crow's feet. It is commonly seen in old people. One thing I wish to mention is that all these actors who use their facial expressions too much, they have more wrinkles as compared to normal people who don't use their facial expressions that much. So, yesterday I was seeing the interview of this Suryavanshi, and Akshay Kumar was sitting and Katrina Kaif was sitting. Katrina Kaif had a mask-like face. She had a lot of Botox and fillers. Her facial expressions had gone, while Akshay Kumar had all his facial expressions. So, in the treatment of wrinkles, we must understand that when we go for Botox, when we go for fillers, these are good and promoted and expensive also. They are promoted by all the big companies and all the famous celebrities. But the thing is that it causes a mask-like face, expressionless. So that is the main difference. And the thing is that it is not easy to put Botox and fillers, and the effect lasts for only 1 or 2 years. And once you get it done, you have to repeat it after 1 or 2 years. So that is the main problem with the treatment of wrinkles using Botox and fillers. One more therapy is there which I am going to discuss for wrinkles later on. Now, melasma. As we know that melasma is a hyperpigmented brown patches symmetrically seen over the face, on the cheek area, nose area, above the lips, and even above the eyebrows. There are a lot of causes for it, like the hormonal causes, like the genetic causes. It runs in the families. Sun exposure is very important factor for it. Diet, the use of cosmetics, and usually seen in ladies. Melasma. We have to differentiate it from one of the more important, another thing which is known as the pigmentary demarcation lines. This is the typical area for the pigmentary demarcation lines, and it is different from melasma. In melasma, we see pigmentation over here and nose, while here it is this area. It is very resistant to treatment, and these are the areas of abrupt transition from the hyperpigmented to the normal skin color seen on the face. The other things we see is the acanthosis nigricans, which are present on the neck and sometimes on the axilla and groin also, and on the hands also. This is the dark velvety patches of the skin in the armpits, neck and groin, even sometimes on the face. Usually occurs in heavy weighted people, and sometimes the person say that this is nothing but this is only the dust or the dirt which he does not wash off, but it is a disease, acanthosis nigricans, which has specific treatment for it. Tanning. Excessive exposure to the sunlight causes the melanocytes to produce more pigment. The person must have gone on a holiday, upon a beach holiday or a hill, snow, and he has got a tanning. This is the exposed area, this is unexposed area. Senile purpura, as we have seen, lot of old patients have this upon the upper limbs, and it resolves by itself. Idiopathic gutted hypomelanosis. Many of the patients, at least I have seen 2 or 3 patients every day. In old age, they complain of these lesions, small hyperpigmented lesions which increase in size which increase in number but do not increase in size, and they are much more concerned that, doctor, is this vitiligo? Is this a social problem? Whether I am going to be ousted by the society? So we need to sit with them, to counsel, we counsel them, we tell them that it is an age-related process and no need to worry, and we give simple medications to help in reducing these spots. But it should not be confused with vitiligo. This is not vitiligo. This is an age-related process, idiopathic guttate hypomelanosis. One of the other things are the seborrheic keratosis, which is commonly seen upon the face on the sun-exposed areas, and as we see, the wrinkles, the surface lines and the deep furrows in the photo-exposed areas. Now, the management of the aging skin. There are a lot of things which can be done to help a patient which comes to us. First and the foremost is the primary level intervention, which is essential also and which we neglect. We should avoid the risk factors which contribute to aging, eating plenty of fresh fruits and green leafy vegetables, which all of us know, regular exercise, sleeping at least 6 to 8 hours every day, avoiding strong sun and wind, regular use of sunscreens. This is very essential, regular use of sunscreens, and adopting the strategies to avoid sun. Adequate use of moisturizers to prevent the drying of skin, avoid smoking and the excess of alcohol, and avoiding stress. How to avoid stress, this other people will tell me. Okay, there are 5 basic steps that form the foundation of a good and smart skincare routine. First is cleansing. These 5 steps are very essential and should be used for every person, young or old, to reduce the aging process. First is cleansing. We can use a good quality soap like Dove or Pears, or a good quality face wash for the cleansing of the face twice or thrice a day. Next is the toning. Toning, using a toner, we remove any residue which is left behind by a cleanser, as well as for the removing of the makeup. This is essential thing. Toner. Exfoliate after toning to remove the dead scales that accumulate in the pores. It is essential if we have blackheads or acne or breakouts. Toning and exfoliation, some of the people might need, but after cleansing, the other process is the moisturizer. In winters, the moisturizer is very essential. When we moisturize our skin, we provide a protective layer to the skin that locks in the moisture and keeps the skin hydrated. That is what gives our skin a smooth appearance. And the next thing is that, lastly but the most important, applying a sun protective factor. A sunscreen, according to the dryness or the oiliness of the face, has to be applied, and we all know that sun is the most damaging factor for the skin and a major cause of skin aging. So this is very essential. Sometimes we have got moisturizers which have an inbuilt SPF, that can also be used. But anything in our skin, anything above SPF 30 or 40 is good enough. And it has to be regularly applied. If we are in the OPD, we are not going out in the sun, then once a day it's okay. But if we are going out in sun, so every 3 to 4 hours we need to apply sunscreen. This is essential. Moisturizers, as I've already told, they soften and smoothen the skin. And the method of application, the best method is they should be applied after taking bath, so that it locks the moisture inside. The moisturizers are better than applying the vegetable oils or coconut oil, because it provides a transparent layer as well as its moisturizers also. So it is better than applying any oil. Moisturizers. Medical management. Many things are there which are written in the books, but the main important are the topical retinoids. These topical retinoids decreases the fine wrinkles, and if we use these topical retinoids in the night time, we can really reduce the process of aging. Only thing is that it should be applied very less, otherwise we can get irritation. Second is the alpha hydroxy acid or polyhydroxy acids, which are present in the chemical peels, which I am going to discuss later on. Moisturizer, as I already told. There are a lot of things like topical vitamin C, vitamin E, ubiquinone, coenzyme, alpha lipoic acid. Vitamin C, they say when you apply or take vitamin C, you can become fair, but that is a misconception. Vitamin C solutions or serum, they are very expensive in the market, and from my personal experience and the studies also, they don't have any effect. So stop wasting time in vitamin C. It does not have any much effect in the skin whitening or to prevent skin aging. Systemic also, vitamin E, vitamin C has been promoted. Oral isotretinoin, it is a retinoid. Oral isotretinoin in low dose given in people, they have less side effect, and that can improve the wrinkles and the thickness and the color of the skin and decreases the pore size. So oral isotretinoin is one thing which we can do. Other things that in hormones in females after menopause, oral tramexib acid. This is also has been used to reduce the pigmentation on the face of melasma. Oral tramexib acid. Skin lightening agents, there are two types, phenolic agents and non-phenolic agents. Phenolic agents, the most important is hydroquinone, which is good but has to be handled by a trained person. Hence, hydroquinone containing products are not available on the counter. It has to be prescribed on a prescription only. The most important is hydroquinone. The others, kojic acid, azelaic acid, aloe vera, ascorbic acid, they don't have much effect. Okay. Chemical peels, they are good. Microdermabrasion is also good, which causes mild exfoliation. Platelet-rich plasma has come, but it has not everyone gets results with PRP, platelet-rich plasma. The adipose-derived stem cells. This is good. Microneedling RF, this is good. Botulinum toxin and fillers, as I told you. Thread lifts are there. Fractional photothermolysis, dermabrasion, lasers like CO2 and erbium YAG laser resurfacing. This basically wounds the skin to the level of the dermis, and during the wound healing, organized ultrastructure remodeling of the dermis, including collagen, occurs, due to which a smoother, firmer and rejuvenated skin we can see. It is especially helpful in deep wrinkles and fine wrinkles. Surgical excision like blepharoplasty can also be done. Okay, a word about chemical peels. There are a lot of chemical peels available in the market in which after cleansing the face we apply a medical solution upon the face for a short time like 5 to 10 minutes and then we wash it off. It is non-invasive. It causes a lot of good effects like it lightens the skin, it smooths out the rough skin, it reduces the acne, it reduces the lines and wrinkles. So we use the superficial peels which do not have any downtime. It is an OPD procedure. A lot of chemical peels are available. Now a word about lasers. This is a good laser which contains a CO2 laser plus a microneedling RF. So two different technologies are there in the same laser. This is a CO2 part and this is the RF part. Both help in the remodeling of collagen. The CO2 has the advantage that it is strong but has a lot of downtime. Once you do a high power CO2 laser upon the face, the patient has to take rest for at least 1 week because there is a lot of redness, dryness, exfoliation on the skin. while the microneedling RF is the new concept in which there is practically no downtime. The effects are almost comparable with a CO2 laser. We can combine both the process, but I feel that once one sitting you do of CO2 laser, and after 1 or 2 months you repeat it with microneedling RF. So you can get the best of the two worlds. Radio frequency. Radio frequency. Microneedling radio frequency. Now we are comparing this process with the Botox and fillers in a wrinkled face. See this. This is the effect of a CO2 laser. Around 2 to 3 sittings have been done. This is the face of a 70-year-old female, and after 2 to 3 sittings this occurs. And believe me, this is permanent. Once this is achieved, she did not need to have it again. Like in Botox and fillers, it is a recurring cost but doesn't occur in this. So this is a much better process than a Botox and fillers, a CO2 laser. It takes away at least 10 years of her life from the face. Takes away ना, मतलब एज कम कर देता ना, takes away.
10 साल बाद फिर वो चीजें आ सकती है, उसके पहले नहीं आएगी.
In a young middle-aged women, this has been done. At least before and after pictures. As you can appreciate, the wrinkles have really reduced. Forehead, CO2 laser. CO2 laser. Only thing is that the downtime is there. For 1 week, we have to tell the patient he or she does not have to go out. But after 1 week, it gives wonderful. It shows wonderful results. The systemic skin whitening agents. Glutathione systemic skin whitening agent is available as an oral as well as IV formulation, and it is a very strong antioxidant naturally available in watermelon and avocado, broccoli, spinach and tomatoes, but this has been given both as oral and IV glutathione. It has been used in other specialties also, like cancer specialty, but in skin, when we use it as oral, within 3 to 5 months it takes for the effect to come, and there is systemic whitening, and the shade of the skin at least reduces by 2 to 3 points, or on the face also and over the body also. We do not prefer IV formulation because it might cause some side effects. That is why we are not preferring, but oral tablets we regularly give. Tremexic acid, this is the drug which we have taken from the gynec people. It is a hemostatic agent used in systemic whitening agent in melasma. Its dose is 250 milligram twice daily for at least 3 to 6 months. It causes good effects in melasma. Yeah. आप लोग शायद उसमें ज़्यादा डोज में देते हैं.
500 milligram
TDS देते हैं. For? हाँ. Here we are giving for 3 months. 250 gram BD for 3 months.
कोई साइड इफेक्ट नहीं है?
नहीं. We ask them whether they have got any bleeding problem or not. After that they give, and then we tell them that if we get any bleeding problem, then you stop it. Few patients have that. But it gives good effect in this melasma. Routine care of the skin, nails and hair. Routine care of hands and nails, we know everything. Reduce the frequency of hand washing, very essential. Use mild detergents. Regular use of moisturizers. Using lukewarm water. Nails should be cut regularly. Cuticles should not be damaged, and avoid nail biting. Regular thing. Routine. Yeah.
How many times should we wash?
Depends upon person to person. I see so many patients, I wash my hands only maybe 5 to 6 times or even 10 times, not more than that. But we get some ladies in our OPD who have paronychia.
That is also say compulsory neurosis.
Yeah, correct. So the husband says she has to do all the housework. That is why her nails are becoming damaged. I tell them no. After completing the work, she washes her hands after everything, every half an hour. Then they say that yes, that is there. So that is what I tell them, that you have to reduce this.
So 5 to 6 times is okay.
Yeah, maybe 10 times, but not more than that. After washing our hands, we doctors will wipe it, will make it dry. These ladies, the obsessive compulsive disorders, they will keep it wet. They have that thing that there's germs everywhere, they'll keep on washing. 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes, they will, that obsessive compulsive disorder, that needs to be care of feet. As you know, do not walk barefoot at home. We have to use closed shoes while going out, regular use of socks, warm water soaks followed by moisturizers. Moisturizers. Routine hair care. In India, ladies keep long hair. The scalp and hair become soiled due to the collection of dirt composed of the shedding skin, shedding hair, dust from the environment, sweating and bacteria. The scalp becomes greasy and oily. Shampooing twice a week for ladies using anti-dandruff shampoo is recommended. Avoid soap on the scalp. Conditioning and the application of hair twice a week is recommended. Combing and brushing the hair should be done twice daily. Avoid heat drying. This is what many people do. The heat drying should be avoided, and the wet hair should not be combed. Excessive perming and coloring should be avoided, as they lead to the moisture and the oil loss and the fracture of the hair shaft. Conclusion: hydrate yourself, drink enough water, about 6 to 8 glasses water per day. It is the cheapest beauty tip. Hydrating from the inside will also affect outside of your body, so drink a sufficient amount of water depending upon your activity. Avoid too hot water. Taking too hot a bath or shower dries out the skin, in the addition to facilitating hair breakage. Next time, think twice before taking the shower with too hot water. We should go for lukewarm water and we can see the dry skin after the bath. Apply sunscreen. This is essential, and it becomes more important in winters because sun rays are more harmful in winters. SPF 30, above SPF 30 is good enough. Use of antioxidants, balanced diet is essential. Green tea, aloe vera, olive oil, blackberry, avocado, mushroom, all are good. Now, should we start the quiz?
First of all, we'll
Yeah.
have a short discussion.
Spot the diagnosis. What is it? A. Trichotillomania, androgenic alopecia, alopecia areata, or tractional alopecia. इस सर का नहीं बात मानेंगे तो आधे स्किन स्पेशलिस्ट है, इनका बात नहीं मानेंगे, इनका नहीं मानेंगे. Okay, this is a malar rash. What can be the cause of this, and why? And why? Why? SLE. And why? Why not rosacea? Why not dermatomyositis? Why not pellagra? Why only SLE? But madam said rosacea. Rosacea also gives this type of picture. But rosacea, see, this is the difference. In rosacea, what we see, the area is same, but we see telangiectasias. This is very essential. And papules and telangiectasias. If we see telangiectasias, it is rosacea. And in the SLE, the typical feature is the malar rash which spares the nasolabial fold. This is very essential. In rosacea, the nasolabial fold is usually involved, while in SLE, very essential is the nasolabial fold is spared. While in dermatomyositis, we see a malar rash as well as a heliotrope rash over the eyelids. So this is a diagnostic of dermatomyositis. So this is the only thing I want to tell you. Okay. Third one, what is this? Vitiligo, chemical leukoderma, nevus T pigmentosus or piebaldism.
भाई कौन जवाब दे? इसका हो गया ना?
उनका।
तीसरा कोई जवाब दे। जो समझ में आ रहा है।
It is piebaldism. It is piebaldism. Next, I will give you a small history. The patient was all right at birth. When she was 13 or 14 years of age, she got this pigmentation only on one part of the face, which started on this, and within 3 to 4 years, it occurred in all this area in this dermatome, and including the scleral pigmentation also. So what is it? Is it post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation? Is it lichen planus? It is nevus of Ota, or is it fixed drug eruption?
Nevus of Ota.
Yeah, correct. This is nevus of Ota. This is a typical picture of a nevus of Ota, which occurs only on one part of the face. Secondly, it is not present at birth. It usually occurs when the patient is 13 to 14 years of age. It gradually increases on this part of the face, and scleral pigmentation is also there. So what is the treatment? If it would have been lichen planus, if it would have been fixed drug eruption or melasma or PIH, we would have given a creams. But this patient needs a laser. Nothing else will do. Only the laser will be good for her. It will take 10-15 sittings, but 70-80% it will go away. Yeah, it will take time, 1 or 2 years, but that is the only treatment. Only on one part of the face.
Next question.
The last one. A young boy having these lesions on the face. Is it vitiligo? It is pityriasis alba? Is it Hansen's disease? Or it is seborrheic dermatitis?
Seborrheic dermatitis.
Okay, next. Okay, yes, next. Yes, it is Hansen's disease. It cannot be seborrheic dermatitis, but usually occurs in the old age people. And in seborrheic dermatitis, whenever you see dermatitis, inflammation, it is never well defined. So this rules out seborrheic dermatitis. It is not vitiligo because the color is different. It is only skin colored, slightly depigmented. It is not white color. Third, pityriasis alba is also diffuse. It is not well defined. Hansen's disease is a well defined hypopigmented lesions, and when we palpate his supraorbital nerve, it will be thickened, and if we test the sensation hot and cold, it will be reduced. So this is a typical patch of Hansen's disease. We should have a view of it, and whenever he comes, we should refer it to a specialist or a hospital for proper MDT treatment. So this should not be missed.
Very, very uncommon nowadays.
No, sir. It is very common. Every day we are seeing at least 5 to 10 patients of Hansen's disease, in which 2 or 3 are new patients. It is not uncommon.
पॉसिबेसिलरी जो एसेंस होता है पता नहीं चलता है मरीजों को.
Possibacillary usually,
We used to see a lot of children with this. 20 years back I used to see, but now we are hardly see any patient Maybe once in a year you will see, but very rarely in children.
Sometimes, see, in possibility cases, na, many of them, they become all right by themselves. If it is single patch, many times they become all right by themselves. But this, if it is multibacillary, lot of patches are there, then they are increased, and then this happens.
ये रिएक्शन में तो नहीं है
लेप्रा रिएक्शन की बात कर रहे हैं आप?
Type 1 reaction?
लेप्रा रिएक्शन
No, not in type 1 reaction. Here there will be red elevated plaques, red colored. This is a patch. This is flat.
One of the first lecture on the skin diaphragm. Very good.
भाई आपसे रिक्वेस्ट की थी जो डेंड्रस के ऊपर प्रकाश डालो। अभी भी डॉक्टर साहब बस ये हो जाए डिस्कशन।
Like to invite Dr. Gaurav Mukherjee sir and Dr. Shishir Naik sir to give the certificate to the speaker.
Thank you so much.